Why am I a wrestler? I ask myself that a lot. How did I get into a world like this? I didn't grow up on wrestling. You know, it was never on TV in my family. That was never like a thing. And it was kind of one of those things I wasn't a fan for long. I saw it and I was like, I want to do this. And I knew there was something inside of me that wanted to come out, if that makes any sense. You know, I knew there was this person that I was hiding, and I don't know why, but it was the real me that I was hiding. For a couple years, I was trying really hard to be something that I wasn't, and I think it was very apparent.
Bitch, my balls are bigger than yours could ever.
I will do whatever it takes to prove myself. You know, I want to be respected. I want to be looked at as tough. I want to be looked at as intimidating. Starting out in wrestling, being disrespected and being looked at as this person that I wasn't. I'm so glad that happened because it built this fire in me that made me become the person I am now. And growing up, I had never felt passionate about anything. Nothing was like, this is my thing. I want to pursue this. And when I saw wrestling the first time, I was like, I don't know why. I can't explain this, but I have to do this. I looked up how to become a professional wrestler. I found a school that was within decent driving distance. I actually would drive to the school every single night. And the school was like an hour away. I would drive there every night and I would sit in the parking lot and I would just shake because I was too nervous to go in there because it was the biggest step I would ever take. You know, actually going out and pursuing something crazy like this. Finally, I was like, I can't be a little bitch about this anymore. I gotta do this. And I remember I walked in, I was just this little skinny blonde girl, and they were like, do you want to be like a ring announcer? Or do you want to be a valet? And I was like, no, I want to be a wrestler. And they kind of laughed at me. No one was willing to give me a chance. With fair reasoning, because I didn't look like the typical pro wrestler. And I remember my first night of training, they told me to take a bump, which is basically you just fall on your back. And I had no idea what that meant, so I just collapsed on my head, and I actually concussed myself pretty badly. I knocked out. They called my mom, because I had that number on, I guess, the emergency file. And I remember my mom took me to the hospital, and I stayed there for a little bit. When we were driving home, I started bawling my eyes out, crying. And she was like, does your head hurt? And I said, no, my head is fine. I said, I'm crying because I'm so scared that you're not gonna let me do this anymore. And she's like, what's wrong with you? Why would you wanna do this anymore? You hurt yourself on the first day. Clearly this isn't for you. And I said, you know what? You're right, this is not for me, but I'm still gonna do it and I'm gonna make it for me. And I'm gonna be someone that no one ever thought I could be.
Her opponent from Richmond, Virginia, she is the modern-day queen, Maria Manic!
When I started out and I was this skinny little blonde Barbie, man, I was bad. I was real bad. The years went on and I kept training and I kept trying and I was terrible, but I was like, I just can't quit.
Maria Manic with the side headlock.
And I kept thinking back to me sitting in that parking lot every single night, thinking, there's no way I can go in and do this. And I did it. And if I got past that, I was like, man, I just gotta keep going. At heart, I'm a girly girl. I love pink, I love Hello Kitty, I love my cats. But then, you know, when I go out, I fuck up dudes. So I kind of like to have that diversity in my life. Yeah, I like to kind of keep all the memories because, you know, even though that's not who I am, it made me who I am. I'm from Virginia. I started my wrestling training in Virginia. I was there for about a year. And then I pretty much dropped everything and moved to New Jersey. Training up here is a lot different. You know, being around that hardcore deathmatch scene, I was like so out of place. But it really hardened me up, and people were very honest with me, brutally honest. At that time, I was kind of put into a role where I was perceived as this sex symbol. And, I didn't complain at the time because I just wanted an opportunity. I was told by a lot of people to be at the top, you gotta be sexy, you gotta be hot, you gotta be skinny, and you gotta flaunt yourself. So I kind of tried to portray that role because I thought, sure, this isn't me, this isn't what I want to do, but if it's gonna get me where I need to be, then I have to do that. And, I wasn't getting reactions from the crowd because they knew what I was doing was not authentic. And, a lot of promoters were kind of just looking at me only as this eye candy and as this manager role. And it made me angry. I didn't know if I was capable of being much more than that. But then, I don't know, something kicked in and I was like, I gotta make a change. A little bit down the road, I met Matt Tremont, who was wrestling for CCW at the time, and he had just started up his own promotion.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we get the extreme.
No, I'm just looking for a mirror at this point.
This is where we get hardcore. This is where deathmatch wrestling takes place. Ladies and gentlemen, this is subterranean violence.
And he came to me and was like, I see you as a China or Luna Vachon, something like that. And I was like, me? That's crazy. I don't think I could ever be something like that. And he said, start working with me. So I started working out. And when I do things completely. I don't really half-ass them. So I was working out every single day and I completely rebuilt my body. I put on about 50 pounds of muscle in a year, dyed my hair black, started getting tattoos. I got man-eater tattooed on my stomach. Sometimes I just get ideas and I'm like, this is it. This is what I have to do. And I completely reinvented myself. For the first time, I was like, this is who I'm meant to be. And it took me 5 years to discover that. But once you find it, it's the best feeling in the world. Matt Tremont was giving me a bunch of opportunities, and he was like, do you want to, prove yourself to me? And I said, I will do whatever it takes to prove myself. He said, all right, I'm going to give you this match. And he said, this is going to be a death match. And about halfway through the match, I was gushing blood down my face. And I remember I looked around at the audience and just the reaction I got from them, they were terrified. Everyone's face was just like, oh my God, this girl is bleeding. This guy just made this girl bleed. This is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And I was like, oh, I think I'm addicted to this. You feel so alive when you're close to dying, if that makes any sense. It's like, I could die in this moment, but I've never felt so alive. So today, for H2O, I am taking on Steve Mack, who is pretty legendary in the wrestling world. Pretty much known for being a badass and being stiff and tough. He's a big motherfucker. I think a lot of people see it and they think domestic violence. But, we're both agreeing to this match. We're not just being thrown out there and told to fight. We know what's going on. We know we signed up for this. I'm just as strong as most of these guys. I'm just as big as most of these guys. I don't see what's unbelievable about that. And I think anyone that's seen me perform, they know. They know I can keep up with the guys. If I'm gonna go in there with the boys, I'm gonna fight like a boy. My family, when I first started, the first year or so, I think they just thought it was a phase. I actually remember, my parents were divorced, but I remember hearing my dad on the phone with my mom, and I remember he said, this is just a phase, she'll get over it. She'll go to college, she'll be normal. And that really hurt me to hear that, she'll be normal. So, when I moved out here, I kind of lost connection with my parents, and I still talk to my dad every once in a while. I wouldn't say they're against it, they just don't understand it, and they've never really taken the time to understand it. And recently, my mom, she saw the deathmatch stuff, You know, she saw kind of my tattoos, where I'm going now. I don't think she was too fond of that, you know, but I told her, I have to do what I have to do. You know, I'm an adult now, I'm my own person. I'm sorry that you don't like what I'm doing, but this is what has to be done. It does hurt me that they've never, you know, really taken the time to try to understand it, but I hope one day they come around, and I think if they come out and see how happy I am doing what I do, they'll understand it. And you know, even if they don't like wrestling itself, knowing how much I like it and that it's my whole world, I think they could respect that for sure.
And we just beat the shit out of each other. You held your own, and I gotta say, I've been in the ring with some of the toughest brawls in this business. You're the toughest. And you let me guide you along the way, but in the end, it's your hard work and perseverance that makes everything in this ring happen. I can't tell you what the future holds, but I'm very, very proud of you. Maria! 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 I don't know where my wife is. I don't know if her and I will ever have children. You're the closest thing I'll ever have to a f***ing daughter, and I need you.
I think my thing is, you know, showing especially females that you're not stuck in the role that you're given. You're not stuck as anyone. For a while, I thought I was just this hot girl that, you know, only had my looks to offer. You know, most people would have stayed in that role because the role, you know, worked for them. But I realized I could do so much more. And I was able, and, you know, fans were able to see that too. They saw my whole transformation. I was able to completely transform myself into something that, you know, no one would have thought I could do. If I would have told people 3 years ago, hey, just showing a picture of myself now and say, hey, that's what I'm gonna become, they wouldn't believe me because it's so unrealistic. But I did it. You know, anyone could do that.